Hey there fellow developers, welcome to another exciting tutorial on Git. In our previous video, we covered the basics of Git and GitHub collaboration, setting the stage for today's adventure into Gitflow, network graphs and merge conflicts. In case you missed it, we learned how to navigate the world of Git and collaborate seamlessly with other developers using GitHub. Now we are ready to level up our skills and explore some advanced concepts that will enhance your workflow, make us even more pro-efficient with version control. Enter Gitflow. It's a methodology that helps us coordinate multiple features and releases, making our development process smoother, more organized. With Gitflow, you'll have a solid framework to work with, ensuring that everyone is on the same page and our code base remains in great shape. But as we journey through Gitflow, we might encounter a common hurdle: merge conflicts. This happens when different branches have conflicting changes and we need to resolve them to keep our code in harmony. Don't worry, because in this tutorial, we are going to learn how to handle these merge conflicts like a pro, keeping our project on track and ensuring a seamless collaboration experience. So get ready to level up your Git game. We'll dive into Gitflow, explore network graphs to visualize our branches, and master the art of resolving merge conflicts. By the end of this video, you'll be equipped with the skills and knowledge to tackle complex projects with confidence. So Gitflow provides the simplest framework for collaborating on a project. We have the developers here, or the collaborators on that project. You have Joe on this side and Sam on this other side. Then you have GitHub, which is the remote repository for storing the code. So as we know initially, one of the collaborators is the one who is going to create the project. We consider that Joe creates the project in this case, and he has to first of all save that project on GitHub. So he's going to make a push. He's going to need to push this code to GitHub. So he's going to create a repository on GitHub. Then he's going to push this code to GitHub to a branch called master or main. So when that developer has pushed his code to GitHub, that's when the other developer can now come in and clone the GitHub repository so that he has the same code on his computer system. At this point in time, both of them are ready to collaborate on this project. So what happens is, for them to work on the project, it has to be organized. So there is a concept of branches. So Sam creates a branch for the new feature he wants to work on, so that he can work on that feature in that branch and commit. And I explained all of this in greater details in the previous tutorial, so you can watch that if you are new to all this. After he has done all this and committed, he now pushes the modifications to a branch called Sam. Joe is working on a new feature for this project, so he creates a branch for that feature, works on the feature, does a commit, then pushes now to another branch called Joe. Then they are now ready to merge now their changes into the master branch. Sam merges his and Joe merges his own changes. So what happens now is that the master branch has the latest up-to-date code, but on Joe's computer and Sam, they don't have the latest code, so they have to pull those changes back from GitHub. So Sam is going to pull the changes from the master or main branch into his own branch to have the latest code, and Joe is going to pull the changes as well, and he's now going to have the latest up-to-date code. So this process can continue over and over, with Joe being able to create a new branch if he wants to work on a new feature, work on that feature in that new branch he created. He commits now the new branch, pushes the new branch now, in this case he called the branch services. Then he can merge now services into master, so that master has the latest up-to-date code. But since as both of them still have outdated code, they need to pull those changes again from master, so that they have Sam as well has the up-to-date code from the master branch. So the cycle continues. So the Gitflow cycle is just a simple cycle of creating a branch on your computer, working on the feature, doing a commit, then you push now the commit to GitHub and merge into the master and pull. So it's just a continuous cycle of this repeating over and over. So the next thing now is talking about network graphs. And network graphs gives you a visual representation of how your commits have been merged into different branches, and it can help you go back in time into history to decide on what to do with your project, do some modifications, because you have a clear visual understanding of how your commits have been done and your branches have been merged. So We are going to take a deeper look into merge conflicts, and we have the remote and we have the local. And if we take a look at the previous slide, we saw that GitHub here in this case is the remote, and local is where we have Joe and Sam that are working locally on their systems. So that's what assignates itself to remote and local. And locally we have Joe and Sam on their own sites, as we see in this previous slide. So what happens is, initially a commit has to be created. You know that before you can push code to GitHub, you have to create a commit on your system, then you can push to GitHub. And that's what when you create a repository on GitHub, as we see in this on this website, I just created a test repository to show you this. You see that you need to git init the repository. So these are the steps to create a repository locally on your computer and push it to GitHub. And I explained that in a previous tutorial in detail, so you can also take a look at that. So you do git init in your terminal to initialize a GitHub repository. This, you can skip this line. This one is for creating a readme file, but you can skip it if you are not creating a readme file. You do git commit. So you notice here that you must do a git commit to create a commit before you can push to GitHub. So when you do a git commit, as we see here, you create a certain commit. Let's just call it commit 1, which is represented by this dot. Then you need to rename the branch. Here is git branch dash main. It's naming the branch you just created locally to a branch called main. So this dotted line represents the branch and it's called main. I notice that a commit is usually represented by the modification of a file. In this case, the index.html file was created and you saved it in this commit 1, the branch main. Then now you link your local git repository to GitHub, and you can now push now your changes, the main branch. You can now push this main branch to GitHub. So when you push this main branch to GitHub, what happens under the hoods is that the remote, which is GitHub, now has a copy of this your local branch and its commit. So you see commit 1 here, the same, and the main branch now has the remote is just a copy of your local branch. So as we saw now initially, when this has happened and Joe has pushed the code to GitHub, Sam can now come in and pull this code from GitHub. He can clone this GitHub repository. So when he clones the GitHub repository, as we see here, what happens is it's doing the same thing. It's just grabbing a copy of this main branch with this commit, and Sam now has the main branch with this commit. And the next thing happens is Sam now wants to work on a future. He needs to create a branch. He can work on that future. He commits, then he pushes now to GitHub on a branch called Sam. So materializing that with the network graphs so that you can see exactly what's happening. See that Sam has to create a branch. These dotted lines, as you see here, this green dotted line, Sam's create a branch called Sam. And as we saw, a commit is usually accompanied by some modification of files. So after he has created the branch and he wants to work on a future, let's say he wants to work on the sign up feature of the web page or of the website, he creates this sign up.html file, does the code modifications in it. Then now he creates now a commit called sign up. So that's the commit for the new feature he worked on. Then now he has to push now this branch to GitHub. So when he does a push to GitHub, you see that the main branch now holds now this commit Sam worked on. And if you look at it, it's exactly a replica of what Sam has locally on his computer. So Joe wants to work on a new feature as well. As we saw, the process is just a collaboration process of creating a branch, working on the future, doing a commit, pushing to GitHub, pulling back, and that's what is going to be repeated over and over, as we saw in the previous slides where we're explaining the Git flow. So Joe creates a branch as well. Let's say Joe wants to work on the login feature. He creates the login.html file, does the code modifications, and makes a commit called login. And he can now push his change now to GitHub. And you see now that this is new branch, which originated from commit 1, originates also from commit 1 here, and he has now this login feature on this branch. So afterwards, after they've created their branches and done the modifications and committed to GitHub, push to GitHub, with GitHub having now their branches, what they want to do is they want to merge their branches into the main branch so that the main branch has the latest up-to-date code. So we're representing the merge with this arrow. So Sam wants to merge branch into the main branch. And the way merges take place is Git is going to look at the latest commit on Sam's branch and the latest commit on the main branch and try to merge those two into a single commit. So this commit coming from Sam has the signup.html, and what was present initially in the commit 1 has the index.html. So the new commit which is created here, this signup merged commit, is going to have both the signup.html file and the index.html file from these two commits. And afterwards, if Joe wants to merge now his branch into the main, Git is going to do the same thing. It's going to look at the latest commit in the main branch, which is the sign up merged commit, and the latest commit on Joe's branch, which is this login commit. So the sign up merged commit here in the main branch has already the index.html coming from here and the sign up.html coming from here. So it's going to add as well the login.html to create a final commit here, the login merged commit, which now has the index.html, signup.html, and login.html. So the main branch has now a commit with the latest up-to-date code. And they can now go as well now and pull now those changes from GitHub to have the latest code also on their computer systems. So when Joe pulls those commits, when he pulls the code from GitHub, he's going now to grab these two. He's going to grab these two commits, the sign up merge commit, and he's going to grab the login merge commit and place it also on his main branch locally. So his local main branch now is up to date with this latest commit here, login merge commit, having all the code modifications, the latest up to date code modifications. Sam can go as well and pull these changes from GitHub. So when he pulls the changes from GitHub, he also grabs the sign up merge commit and login merge commit, so that his code now is also up to date with this commit, this last commit, which is the latest commit. If Joe wants to work on a new feature, and as we see, the process goes on, and what happens is, since as this login merge commit is the latest commit, Joe is going to create a branch from this login merge commit. So he's going to create a branch from this commit, and he can call this branch services. And all this creation of branches are accompanied by their Git commands, which we saw in the previous tutorial. So here he's going to be creating a branch from the login merge commit. And let's say he works on a feature. The feature now is called services. Let's say he wants to work on a feature called service template. So the branch name is services, and he works on a feature called service template. Then he does a commit. He's going to create a commit here called services template. And as we see, a branch must not have only one commit, unlike the previous cases where we just had one commit on a branch. He can work on a particular feature on that branch, do a first commit, do some additional modifications again on that same branch, and create another commit on the same branch. But as we see, as always on branches, the latest commit is what has all the up-to-date code. So this services type has both the modifications from the services template feature, in addition to that some additional code which he worked on in order to create this new commit. So this code here is the latest up-to-date code on this branch. Okay, so Joe has worked now on these new features in this branch services, and he wants to merge that to the main branch on GitHub, so that Sam can also have the up-to-date code, because the main idea here is the remote, which is GitHub here, has to have the latest up-to-date code, and the branch which is serving as the point of reference for both Joe and Sam is the main branch, because it's into the main branch where they merge all their changes. So Joe is going to do a push to GitHub as well, and his new branch services is going to be pushed to GitHub. As we see here, this is new branch services originates from the login merged commit on the main. So when he does a push to GitHub, you see that the services, this is services branch, is going to originate as well from the login merged commit on the main. And he has all the two commits he had locally from his services branch. So with that now in place, it's normal that they want to merge now this branch as well into the main branch, so that the main branch has the latest up-to-date code. And as I previously explained, Merging just looks at the latest commit on the two branches which want to be merged. So since as services wants to be merged into the main branch, Git is just going to look at login merge commit and look at services type commit. Since as you know, services type commit has the changes also from this services template and is the one which is up to date. And he also knows that login merge commit already has all the modifications from both commit 1 and sign up merged. He's just going to look at login merge commit, services type commit, and merge these two commits now into a new commit, services merge, which has all the changes from this branch and the new changes Joe did into this new commit here. So this is the latest commit and it's the code which is up to date, and the process can continue over and over. Joe can go as well again and pull these changes from GitHub. So he's going to grab this services merge commit and place on his main, so that he has the latest up-to-date code. And if Sam pulls the changes also from GitHub, he's going to grab this services merge commit and place it also on his local main branch, so that he also has the latest up-to-date code. Okay, so in the previous slides we were explaining a very simple case of working on a Git repository, of collaborating on a project, and we looked at the network graph. But some issues can occur when merging branches into one another, and those issues are called merge conflicts. And the reason why a merge conflict can arise in a project is due to some few reasons. It's possible that the two commits have conflicting modifications. Like, let's say we want to merge this commit and this commit together into one commit, and both of them have conflicting modifications. So it's going to create a merge conflict. We are going to look at that. It's also possible that it's because of the fact that the same line in two files have been modified by the two commits. So let's say, for example, this index.html and index.html here were modified in these two commits differently. So it's going to create a conflicting change, and we are going to look at that. And it's also possible that it was due to the fact that a file was deleted in one commit and the other commit updated the same file which was normally deleted. So that's also going to create a merge conflict. So we are going to start from the situation where Sam wants to merge his branch. The Sam branch wants to be merged into the main branch. So here a merge conflict can potentially occur, but we are going to look at the details. The commit one has this index.html, which is the original file which was created and saved in this commit one and was then pushed to GitHub. So he has this index.html, so this commit and this commit are identical. Then we now have this commit, this sign up commit on this Sam's branch. So actually they were the files which Sam worked on, sign up.html and index.html in this case. So you see here that Sam created this sign up.html. It's a completely new file which was not even present in this initial commit, but he had to modify this index.html as well, because we know that for you to be able to navigate from, let's say, the index.html page to the sign up page, you need to click on a certain link that holds the link to the sign up page. So that's why Sam modified the index.html as well. Okay, that out of the way, we now have Sam pushed his branch to GitHub, and GitHub now has this commit here on Sam's branch with sign up.html and index.html. So GitHub now wants to merge these two commits. As we saw, for a merge to take place, GitHub just looks at the latest commits on the two branches and decides whether to merge them or not. Okay, so Git is going to look at this and easily figure out that this sign up.html is completely new, because this one didn't have the sign up.html. So you're just going to add this sign up.html as a new file to this commit, and it's going to look at this index.html and this other index.html to try to figure out how to create a new index.html here. So we take a look at the index.html in this first commit and that in this sign up commit. They look something like this. This is the first index.html and this is the next one. So the index.html here in this commit just has the title of index and he has nothing in his nav in the body and nothing in the main. While the index.html in this sign up commit has a title of sign up and it has an anchor element in its nav bar. So Git is smart enough to notice the modifications, the fact that the title was changed to sign up and the anchor element was added to the nav, and it's going to create a new index.html for the merge which is doing. So it's going to change now the title to sign up and it's going to add this nav to the body, this anchor element into the nav. So this new index.html is what is going to be added here in this commit. So that's what Git does, and that is done automatically by Git, and it's easy for Git to figure out those modifications. The next case now is when Joe's branch wants to be merged into the main branch. Git looks at these two, the commit here and this other commit, to figure out how to do this merge. It sees that the signup.html has not been modified by this one, so it's untouched, and it's going to just add the signup.html. The login.html was modified in this commit and it was not even present in this other commit, so it's just going to copy it as well and place here. It's a new file, so it just adds it easily. What about the index.html and the index.html here which were modified? Git has to try to figure out how to create a new index.html to place here. So if we look at the two index.htmls from those two commits, the first index.html is from this sign up merged and the next one is from the login commit. So the first one is from this sign up merged and the next one is from this login commit. So Git looks at those two index.htmls. As we saw in the previous slide, the title had been changed to sign up and an anchor element of sign up had been added to the nav bar. In this other case, the login index.html comes in with the title of login and it comes now with a nav bar, an anchor element in the nav bar with an href of login and a label of login. So here is going to be a bit technical for Git to resolve this, and the reason why Git is going now to show you a merge conflict which you need to resolve. So it's going to conflict. Git cannot merge this automatically, so Git is going to throw you in an interface for you to do this. And the reason why Git can merge this automatically is because Git is confused on whether it should keep this anchor element here, this new anchor element, because it sees that initially it was signup.html and this is what Sam brought in, but Joe is bringing in a different anchor element. So Git does not know whether it should replace Sam's own anchor element with Joe's own anchor element, or it should add this new anchor element to this nav bar. So Git is going to show you in an interface that looks something like this. So you have this interface which shows that Joe's branch came in with a title of login while the main had a title of sign up, and that's what you see here. Joe came in with the title of login and the main branch had the title of sign up. So Git does not know which one to conserve, and the reason why this is a bit technical is because if initially the initial commit on the main branch was done by Joe as well, Git will automatically know that the title has to be changed to the latest title which is coming in. But because the initial commit was a commit which was done by Sam and the new commit is a commit which is done by Joe, Git does not know which one to conserve, and that's why it shows you in this interface. So you have this first zone here with this less than signs, equal to, and greater than is the zone where you have to resolve the merge conflict. You have another one here where you also need to resolve the merge conflict. So Git shows you these two zones. The next one is showing you that Joe modified the anchor element. The anchor element which is coming in from Joe's branch is the login anchor element, and that which was originally in the main branch is the sign up anchor element. And it shows that as a merge conflict because this was what was brought in by Joe, and initially the one which was present was the one which was modified by Sam. So Git shows you this as a merge conflict and you have to resolve it. The way you resolve the merge conflict is just by taking away these additional lines and modifying the code and so that it looks like what you want to save, and the merge conflict is going to be resolved. So in this our case, we are going to be modifying this file so that we resolve the merge conflict. To resolve the merge conflict, what you do is you take away this, and in this case we know that we want to conserve, normally there can be only one title in an HTML file, so we are going to decide on what to do with the title. In this case, we are going to just leave the title as index, because here we're in our index.html. So we are going to leave the title as index. Even here had to be index. It was clearly an error which we did to modify to sign up, but yeah, the title has to be index. So I'm going to leave the title to be index, and that's how we resolve a merge conflict. So you take away all these lines which were added by Git. You change the title. In this case, we are going to change it to index, and that's what you are going to be doing in your code editor, the interface that Git shows you to do the modifications. So we change the title to index, and in the body, in the navbar, what we know is we need both this login.html and signup.html, because they are what are going to permit the user to navigate on clicking to this login.html and signup.html. So we are going to leave both of them, but we are going to take away these lines in order to resolve the merge conflict. So when we take away these lines and save, you have resolved the merge conflict. So now see that we have two anchor elements here, and after this, what you just do is you save. When you save in your editor, Git is going now to create now a new, it's going to create now the new index.html, which is going to just have this code modifications with it here. So it's going to create now the new index.html here and add it to this login merge commit, which has your modifications, and your code now is up to date with all the changes you desire. Your login merge commit, which is the latest commit, has all the up to date changes, and that's merge conflict resolution. So guys, if you got some value from this tutorial, which I know you did, just don't forget to hit that like button, which supports me a lot, and become a subscriber as well, because I release valuable content like this weekly.